Welcome back, everyone, to the Awful Takes podcast, where we share our awful takes on movies, music, movie news, and we condense it and make it digestible for all of you guys who probably don't care about what I'm saying, yet you're here anyways. So thank you for that.
Thanks, guys.
My name is Nabahi.
Hello, I'm Wallied from Sir Gator Productions.
And we are on episode 48.
Oh,
we're almost to 50.
It's scary. We're getting close.
Almost there. It's kind of crazy, but
getting scarily close.
How we structure our show, we have movie news kind of front loaded in our episodic reviews that we just kind of want to talk about. We find things that kind of pique our interest and stuff. If you're not here for that, that's totally fine. If you want to skip straight to the review, we have timestamps in the descriptions. So feel free to jump ahead, go to the review and definitely see what we got recommended for the next episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Not going to say too much yet, but just thank you guys for all the support and everything. We really do appreciate it. I know on the last review, I was like telling you guys to stop subscribing and everything, but it's still going on. So just thank you guys so much. I didn't want to make it sound like I was ungrateful because I am. Thank you guys a lot. All right. Wallied, movie news. What are we talking about?
Okay, so this is something I know we covered a while back during our Alien versus Predator discussion. And so we got some more confirmation about The Social Network 2, Electric Boogaloo. They actually gave us a new title for it, so it's not going to be The Social Network 2. It's actually The Social Reckoning.
Oh, my God.
Which just sounds like the title of that new Mission Impossible, but it's silly. But anyways,
that sounds like a middle schooler writing like a paper or something
for his journalism class.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like that. So we got some official cast announcement type of thing. So we have a few familiar faces that are going to be involved. So I'll just go through the list. So we got Mikey Madison, which is insane. I've been singing her praises for the past year with Nora and her win and everything. So I never thought in a million years that The Social Network 2 would be the next film she would be attached to, especially because she mentioned a while back she's being a little bit more picky with her choices. So that was kind of an interesting choice for sure. We got Jeremy Allen White, who's kind of known for The Bear. Haven't really seen it, but I did enjoy his performance in The Iron Claw.
Oh, nice.
And then the one that I think shocked me the most was Bill Burr. I know, going from Daddy's Home to The Social Reckoning now, like what a jump,
Wild.
Okay, sure. I don't know who Bill Burr will play in the movie. Jeremy Strong, which I'm not sure if I've seen him in anything. Mm-hmm. The name sounds kind of familiar, but yeah, Jeremy Strong is the other person they officially casted for this film. Wow, what a wild cast list. I don't know what kind of characters they're going to play in this film and everything. I know we kind of mentioned a little bit of like maybe what the film could possibly be about, maybe like showing the more Instagram side or maybe showcasing kind of the more controversy with Zuckerberg and everything.
Yeah.
And then again, like I said, maybe hopefully they show him as like a lizard person, but we'll see with that. So, Nabai, how do you feel with this cast list and that title?
Cast list, title... Nah, just re-roll, do it again, think of something else. The Social Reckoning, just come on. That's like bottom of the barrel name. I don't know. I just don't like that title.
I don't know. It seems pretty epic to me.
And I guess maybe what it is it's not focusing so much more on like obviously the social network with Instagram, Facebook and all that stuff. So maybe it is focusing on a different side of Zuckerberg that obviously we kind of mentioned. Maybe the whole, kind of hoarding of data that was found to be going on with Facebook and Instagram, things like that, which I think is actually really interesting. So I don't know, maybe the title might end up working for me, but right now I hate that title so much. As for the cast list, I guess give or take, it's interesting. I guess what the one that does kind of give me hope is, Mikey Madison, because she was being selective with her roles. You know, she wasn't jumping into
just like whatever.
Exactly.
You know?
She wasn't just taking on any job. It really was like she was trying to find the right thing. So I guess this is it. So maybe reading the script, hearing the pitch, maybe something about this has more credit than we're kind of giving it right now, you know? And obviously it is Aaron Sorkin. So, I anticipate it to at least be kind of serviceable. You know, I think it's not going to be
somewhat
really bad.
You know, no.
I'll give Bill Burr his flowers. He's appeared in more things that, you know, really, I think he has a good side of acting to him.
The Mandalorian for sure.
Yeah, in The Mandalorian, especially season 2, he portrays someone almost like a war veteran who was a part of almost like a suicide mission, you know? Yeah. And he has this brief dialogue exchange with this Imperial officer. Sorry, spoilers, by the way. Their conversation, he does really well in that scene. And it almost kind of shocked me. I was like, holy crap. And then he had a brief cameo in a show called Res Dogs nice. That I really watched. And he did great in that too. So I think he knows how to go about it, you know. But obviously he does like his other stuff, like the comedy roles, like that Netflix movie.
Old Dads?
Old Dads that I saw one scene from, and it was him talking about something, and I was just like, I can't. This is written in the most cheesy way. I was like, really? Oh, this is horrible.
Okay. I saw Joel Haver's video on it where he was talking about how he did like a game called Old Dad's Bingo or something. Yeah. Where he would just like put like a bingo space for every time like he found something predictable about the movie.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all I know about it.
So yeah, I'll give him his flowers. Yeah. He definitely, I feel like he still has room to kind of shock us, you know. I think that role for him is going to come and it's going to totally take us by surprise. So yeah,
it'll be overall, an Oscar-worthy performance. What do you mean?
Overall, I'm excited. I think it's just we're gonna have to see how this kind of all plays out. I'll definitely have a better feeling when this first trailer kind of drops. Yeah. When I see the look of it, when I see how they're portraying Zuckerberg. Yeah. The one thing that I don't know. I know he didn't want to do it for certain reasons. Jesse Eisenberg kind of wanted to stay away from this movie because he doesn't want to just be synonymous with Mark Zuckerberg, which I understand.
That's fair because that's probably like his most famous performance, right?
Yeah, he got his Oscar nomination and everything for that. But I will say, I think people already do that anyways. I don't think he realizes that it's been 10 years since The Social Network came out, and still
15 now.
Over 10. Yeah,
Jesus.
And seeing people still talk about him as Mark Zuckerberg, I'm like, dude, you're already synonymous with him in general. No matter what roles you've taken on, like people still haven't forgotten that.
And there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, he did a great performance. So I don't know. I just feel like his reasonings and everything, it kind of sucks for me because I really would have liked to seen that other half of the coin portrayal from him. You know, obviously he did like the younger kid growing up and finding his way through college and everything and becoming this, you know, billionaire. Now I want to see the other side of that now. Now, what is this person's, you know, outlook on life? How does he treat others now that he's, you know, rich, famous, things like that? Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's a misstep by him. Honestly, I understand his reasoning. I just feel like we're at that point already. Like so many people, when I'm watching a movie and Jesse Eisenberg pops up, the first thing they mention is, oh, it's that guy from The Social Network. Usually that's what I hear, like 9
that's
or 8
what you hear
times
majority of the time.
Exactly.
I guess what I feel like, I mean, granted, I'm not a big fan of his acting, but I feel like it's one thing they maybe could have explored if he did decide to come back was like showcase that maybe more other mature side of Zuckerberg, maybe a more side of that betraying other people, because they kind of explored a little bit in the first film, you know, maybe showcasing that a little bit more, but we'll see how they do it with this film.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's It's a weird title. Weird title.
What a title. It's the title for the ages.
All right. What's the next piece of movie news we're talking about?
So we got confirmation that they are going to be doing a Simpsons movie sequel. And we have a date for it and everything. There's a poster. So it's set for like July 2027. So it's over almost 2 years away. And it's crazy because when it comes out, it'll be the 20th anniversary of the Simpsons movie, actually.
Wild.
So, and it's so funny because we were just talking about Simpsons movie a little bit briefly in the SpongeBob discussion. So, yeah, I don't really know what they would do for a Simpsons movie sequel. I didn't even know the show was kind of still airing until I kind of found out about this piece of movie news. So, yeah, okay. I mean, let's definitely see what they have to offer with this. Because granted, I do really enjoy that. From what I remember, I really remember really enjoying that first Simpsons movie as a kid and everything. That was one I rewatched a lot. So I'm just kind of like, it seems like they have some kind of like good idea for a sequel, you know, or maybe expanding, I guess, kind of the world of The Simpsons or something, or maybe like showcasing that family dynamic, but maybe in like a different way. Maybe I feel like something they could maybe try out is maybe doing like a time jump, you know? How did you feel with this?
The announcement really came out of nowhere for me. I mean, I didn't even know this was being considered. I never heard any kind of rumors about it. So I really think they have an idea that they like a lot and they only could do it through film. I'm happy this is like a theatrical release and not just something that's going on Disney Plus or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm excited. I mean, I really like the first Simpsons movie and I really enjoy the show. I know some people really only talk about the first, 5-6 seasons. And then you kind of hit that lull for a bit. But I will say, I think the reception on a lot of the seasons as of the past 8 or 9 years have been trending upwards, that it's getting pretty good. And I've watched a few episodes. Obviously I love the Treehouse of Horror stuff that they do.
Oh yeah. Those are always great. I remember really enjoying those.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited. I will say that the one I really like is that it was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the Treehouse of Horror, they parodied Death Note.
Oh, I think I saw a clip from that.
And I thought it was so funny. And they got like an anime studio to come in and animate the whole episode.
Oh, really? Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. But obviously I'm a Death Note fan, but it was really cool. So I don't know. I would like to see stuff like that in the Simpsons movie. I would really like to see them really like kind of parody the genre that they kind of helped create, and where it is now, like you have all of these adult shows that are more geared towards adults.
That adult animation type of thing, like, like a Family Guy, Rick and Morty, things like that.
And I would like them to really kind of hone in on, the landscape of it now. I feel like we were in a weird spot there for a bit with shows like Rick and Morty that I just didn't really care for, and I feel like some of these other shows are having this resurgence and really kind of taking the spotlight back from it, like recently with the new King of the Hill season that they did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Really good reception, and that's a show that's been around for a long time.
I know they brought back Futurama recently too, which is another show that Matt Groening created.
Exactly.
Just
so
kind of crazy. I'm like,
I really just want to see kind of, just a retaking of The Crown, because I just really didn't care for a lot of the adult animation, that was out, 5-6 years ago. I just, I don't know why it's humor and everything. I
think it's just style of humor. And then like just the animation style just feels like kind of to me. Like it just has that kind of like, Family Guy clone type of look, And it's just like, it feels kind of lifeless to me, I guess, personally. But
I really think it says a lot that they want to do a movie, and none of these other franchises or anything have really kind of done that.
Family Guy,
Simpsons did.
Family Guy's never done one, surprisingly.
No, they haven't. Neither has like South Park or.
I guess with the bigger, longer, and uncut.
Oh yeah,
in the 90s, but still.
So I'm excited. I mean, it's crazy that they have the date already. It's crazy that they've been working on this and nothing's really kind of came out about it. Yeah. I guess the one thing that I wouldn't really be, surprised by is if this is kind of the end of the Simpsons,
You think
not
so?
this movie, but
Or I guess maybe
start,
nearing the end. Yeah.
start, kind of phasing everything out, because they've been on air for the longest time. So
since my parents were kids.
Yeah. And obviously the voice actors are getting older and everything.
Of course. Yeah.
I'm curious to see where they go. That is one thing also with voice actors in general that's kind of scaring me, is we are seeing the kind of early retirement of legacy actors and being filled in by the voice actors who can do really good like impressions, I wouldn't say it's crossed over into movies just yet or TV shows. But that is the one thing I've noticed. I know I kind of talk about video games a lot, but with video games, specifically Nintendo, they kind of have been dropping these retirements of all these voice actors just out of nowhere. Like the voice of Mario recently retired.
Oh, really? Charles Martinet?
And he's been replaced by someone who does, a really good impression. Same thing with the voice actor of, I believe, Peach. And you hear interviews with these people and they're like, I had no idea that I was getting retired. I had no idea that they were going to replace me with someone else. And it's almost like this kind of like betrayal of, we don't really want to pay you as much as, we want.
Used to.
So, we can get someone else to do it a lot cheaper and they can kind of sound the same. Also with the, rise in AI and, doing the vocal correction and everything. I think we're going to start hearing about this stuff more in movies and shows and things like that pretty soon. So obviously, can these shows and everything exist past these voice actors? That's something that I find interesting. I would be very curious to see what it'd be like to hear that these voice actors are retiring, but the show is going to continue. That would just be very, very interesting to me.
Yeah. Kind of eerie too.
It is kind of eerie.
Yeah, the way you put it like that, especially with AI.
But I mean, I'm excited. Again, that's just some of the ideas that kind of come in my head when I think about
like a Simpsons movie
and
sequel.
everything.
Yeah,
it really will be super interesting to see when the movie does come out. What is this kind of in service of, or is this just, what, we just have an idea for a movie, let's do it,
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of crazy.
Wow.
All right,
so what do we got?
At the end of last episode, I was kind of toying around with the idea of a few different recommendations and things like that. There are a lot of horror movie staples that I still want to talk about, and I still have. I really wanted to talk about the found footage genre. And there's certain movies that I will point to in that genre that I find very interesting. I know I mentioned a few on the last episode. But then I kind of thought in the back of my head, wait a minute, there's this movie that I haven't seen that I've heard so much about. Granted, I could watch it first and I could, recommend it or whatever. But I kind of was like, you know what, it'd be kind of cool to jump into this found footage era, at least start anyways. And talk about something that I haven't seen, because then I don't really have a bias towards it or anything. Because if I mention some of these other movies that I hold very highly, a lot of people will probably be like, come on, they're not that good.
Yeah.
So I always remember hearing about this movie Wreck, or some people call it Record, or, I just usually hear the term Wreck.
Wreck dot.
Yeah, Wreck. It is a Spanish film that was made in 2007.
Wow.
It falls around an hour and 18 minutes, really short.
Yeah, but odd coincidence, because the last film I recommended was also an hour and 18 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But very effective in what it's doing. So this movie was just in the back of my head. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. I've never seen this movie. I've seen parts of like a trailer once, but it had been so long by this point that I totally forgot anything that I saw.
Okay.
I'd never really remember hearing about this movie during the time it came out. I don't remember hearing about it in that 2007 onward era. A lot of the times when I was in school talking with my friends and things like that, their opinions on horror and stuff wasn't the greatest. And, you know, they'd kind of recommend like a lot of the remakes and things that were going on in that time.
For sure.
But they weren't like, you know, diehard film fans or anything like that. I will say this is one that you kind of have to search for. Speaking of which, I'm going to get it out of the way right now. When you watch this movie, you have to specifically find the Spanish subtitled version. Don't watch the English dub. If you're curious, look up the English dub trailer, and you'll know exactly why I'm not recommending that you watch that one, because the English dub is just really bad and it's really distracting.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So funny enough, a couple days ago, I load this movie up, get it on YouTube, because that's kind of where I go for most of like the rental movies. I'll go on YouTube and just kind of pay the small rental fee.
Oh, okay.
And I load this up and the trailer starts playing, and then I see a bunch of comments and I was like, oh, let me just kind of click on them. I clicked on it and then all of them were like, this is not the Spanish version. This is the English dub version. You can't change it, you know? And so many of the comments were just like, don't watch this. Don't watch this. Oh, And luckily that happened before I pressed rent and I didn't spend any money. So thank God I avoided that whole mess. But I did see the trailer that was playing and I was like, yeah, that's really bad. I would definitely find that very distracting.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to find the right version, just make sure you look for the Spanish version.
I was on Tubi.
I was able to find it. I heard Tubi. I was able to get it on Shudder. It's out there. It's not impossible to find.
Luckily,
you will have to kind of search for it. I just don't know what, you know, kind of rental service people use. So just forewarning, watch the Spanish version. Okay. So this movie came out in kind of that found footage, you know, Renaissance era and everything. However, this isn't, you know, a typical American type movie. You know, a lot of the American found footage films really rely on coincidence a lot, and they really rely on, you know, suspension of disbelief and everything like that. And sometimes that can be distracting to viewers, you know, like for instance, you know, the cameraman, oh, that's Johnny. He just really likes filming stuff. So he's kind of here, you know, just the shit like that kind of is just like, come on. Like, and then the shit starts happening and it's like, why is this guy still filming?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah,
put the camera down, bro.
Yeah, I hate that in American found footage, you know, things like that. It's just like, come on. Sometimes they find intelligent ways of kind of, you know, justifying the reason as to why they have a camera. Watching this movie, they think of a great reason as to why. And not only that, once the plot kind of changes, you really get into a serviceable reason as to why they're still filming, you know. Maybe towards the end, maybe you might want to drop the camera, but man, I really enjoy the justification for all of it. And this movie, the premise is just super simple. It really is just, you know, kind of that coincidence type situation. You know, this crew is following these firefighters around
for like a segment on like
on
one
like
of
a
their
show,
like a late programming, like 2 a.m. show. That's definitely how I felt, at least in like the first like 20 minutes of this. It feels like something I would find in like the middle of the night on like maybe cable TV like 10 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
It very much has that feeling.
This would be something that's really great to kind of stumble upon, you know, if you know nothing about it, you haven't heard anything about it, and someone gave you like a link to this or something. Don't click on strange links, anyone.
We're not encouraging that. Don't do that.
But yeah, you know, you kind of watch it with, you know, your guard let down. I could see someone really getting into this.
Imagine watching this just on TV and you just don't even know what this is.
Imagine watching this in like the early days of like the internet, you know, how crazy that would be. That would be amazing. But yeah, this crew is following these firefighters along. They go respond to this call. And when they get there, they realize that this situation is kind of out of control. One of the people they're with ends up getting attacked by this person. And in a matter of minutes, this apartment that they're in is getting closed off. it's getting, quarantined, it's getting shut down, and they're not allowed to leave, which for me is just really fascinating.
Very claustrophobic for me personally, too.
Exactly. And it really does its job super well of really containing the premise, You really start to familiarize yourself with the surroundings. You start to remember, what these rooms are. And I really like that with, bottle type films.
Yeah, that was surprising. I was not expecting like a bottle film with this. Like,
same, I wasn't either. I thought it was gonna like eventually break out or something, but I was totally surprised. I was like, wow, this whole movie is utilizing the space really well.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's your premise and everything. So we'll get into it. Again, spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched this movie. Definitely check it out and let us know what you guys think.
Yeah. Best way I feel like to go into this is really knowing little to nothing. Cause honestly, I didn't really know much about it when you recommended it. So I feel like it really just took me by surprise, honestly.
Yeah. So honestly, in that first part with the interviewer and the firefighters and everything, I think what it is the fact that it's foreign language, my guard is let down. And the fact that these actors and stuff aren't recognizable names, my guard is let down. I'm getting invested in these characters. They feel real. They feel genuine. There was just something about the way the reporter was talking with this group of firefighters and everything, or playing basketball, stuff like that. I was just like, this really does feel real. This really feels kind of genuine, Yeah. And I love the kind of mistakes that they were making. It made it feel more kind of off the cuff, like they're in the hallway. Truck, truck. She's like, "Oh, I wanted the alarm to go off," and then she kind of does a quick take, like, "Oh, can we do that again?" I said alarm. I was trying to say siren. Just stuff like that really kind of adds to like that authenticity of like, oh, this feels real.
It feels uncut. You know? Yeah. It doesn't feel like edited, surprisingly, in any way.
Yeah. And I love those kind of offhand takes like that. And I love their reactions too. Anytime something like, spontaneous happens or out of left field, you really feel like the actors weren't anticipating it either. I was like when they break in the door, it's this loud noise and she freaks out. It's almost like she wasn't anticipating it. Just those little type reactions. And it's just like, again, those small moments and things. I can imagine that the directors really are like, you know what, if we do enough of these things, it'll really start to add to that authenticity.
It adds to it adds to the suspense too. Yeah. Also for me.
And it's like directors and writers, a lot of times in horrors, are be like, you know what, just do it. You know what? It's just, let's just get the character to this point. Anything that happens along that, the audience will just forgive us for it, Yeah. And in that, you see a lot of the sloppiness, a lot of the laziness, and you really start to, what can be little problems, they start to add up into this big kind of annoyance by the end of it.
It's quite the polar opposite. Yeah.
Yeah. And literally, I feel like these directors took that and did the opposite of, you know what? Let's add little moments of authenticity. It might be forgettable for some people, but for me as a watcher, it really started to add to something that really was just like, they didn't need to do this, but I'm really glad that these little moments are there.
Yeah. And I think it'll, honestly, for me, like after watching it, I think it'll be better on a rewatch now, just kind of picking up on those little tiny details, you know. I think it'll make for like an even better rewatch,
Yeah. So right away when they get to this apartment and everything, I didn't really know what to anticipate,
Same.
I was just super like, okay, what's going to happen? Like, are they going to run into something paranormal and right away when you see this silhouette of a person down a hallway, you immediately are like, all right, this is creepy. This feels weird.
It's an old lady.
But obviously these guys are there to help. So it's like they can't just run away. Like as far as they've been briefed on the situation, they have to go in there to help this person.
Which is very scary considering they have little to no information about it also.
I will applaud, first responders and things like that. They're the guys who really...
They go in first.
No matter how scary the situation is, they have to go in. And it's just just like, God, I couldn't imagine like
I could never do that.
Yeah. So yeah, while they're creeping down this hallway, going towards her, they're saying they're there to help and everything. And then one of them gets attacked. And immediately I was just like, oh my God.
Oh, it's like a zombie film? Okay.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just totally caught me off guard. I mean, but right away you can tell that these zombies and stuff that they've done do borrow a lot from some different films and things like that.
28 Days Later is definitely one for sure.
Yeah, it really does. Maybe towards the end too, it does start to feel like
almost kind of Exorcist, kind of more spiritual, like the kind of Conjuring type of thing, you know?
Yeah. But it really is really effective, you know. I love that the camera work is never really perfect, you know.
I love how shaky it is. This is like, I think the one time where I feel like the shaky cam was like really working for me, surprisingly, especially like with that first kill and everything, you know. And it's just like everybody's like panicking, they don't know what to do. Like that was really genuinely terrifying.
The shakiness and then the sound mixing really add that layer of, this is like a found footage film, you know. The sound doesn't sound super edited.
It doesn't sound super clean either. It sounds like very choppy at points.
Sometimes you'll hear characters who are louder than others, you know, and the volume is just like in your face. And it just adds to like that. It's not mixed. It's not, you know, leveled out. I mean, obviously there probably is.
Yeah. But it definitely has that unedited feel for sure. Yeah. You know,
that's something with found footage films that started to lean in towards, you know, just the
clean sound mixing,
the exact
polished.
Right moment the character falls and pivots the camera perfectly to catch this crazy scene. And it's just like, come on. It's like, of course, that guy framed it super, super well.
He's a professional cameraman. What are you talking about?
And it's like, I like in this movie, like the camera will go on focus or he zooms in, you know, and it's just not super clear.
I love these like quick zoom ins and zoom outs that he does, especially with like that like first kill when like they kill the old lady for the first time. And it's just like zooms out like quickly and everything. It's like, whoa,
and he'll put the
really
camera down. He'll put the camera down to help people or, you know, to aid into
Pedro.
Or I also like too, like they use the camera as the tool that it is. You know, they'll rewind footage to rewatch and everything. And I really enjoyed that. I'm like, that's something that I feel like I haven't seen.
Yeah, that kill definitely hit like even harder than like the first time they showed it. Honestly, it was like, oh, that was really sad. You know.
And it's okay. So from the moment that guy gets bit and everything, you don't really start to feel the claustrophobia. You don't really start to feel, you know, the desperation of the situation. It isn't until they try to leave and you realize that they're stuck there. That's when it's like, okay, great. You know, it's like, imagine being locked in a building with a literal demon and it's like, you have no escape. Like that's terrifying.
Yeah.
And I love that they're trying to figure out a way out of this, you know. Some do kind of accept the situation for what it is, but some don't, you know. I love that the granted, I will say a lot of these characters are very much two-dimensional and everything, which is fine. I don't really need, you know, super, you know, three-dimensional characters in this type of movie.
Especially because it's so short too. And they're just kind of like, well, let's just get to the point, you know?
And it's found footage. Like, I feel like if you were to dive into character depth and things like that, it would start to break my, you know,
it would kind of break the illusion a little bit. Yeah.
I feel like I'd be like, okay, now this is just too convenient. These characters are talking about, you know, history or their past at this exact moment, you know, and that's when I'm just like, all right, you're kind of breaking the illusion here.
Well, I think for me, what surprised me was, you know, the film does kind of like slow down out of nowhere, and you get like the main lady, she's like interviewing like all the people in like the apartment, and I was like really surprised to kind of like hear like their perspectives on like the situation and everything. It wasn't something I was like expecting at all for like the film to do, but it really just kind of showcased how like at least this lady, and I guess I kind of took it as like she's kind of like exploiting the situation more for like, oh, you know, this is a crazy news story we got, you know.
Yeah, it was a nice layer to add especially now with the way things are. Like people really,
It's kind of ahead of its time a little bit in that sense, right? Yeah.
People really try to capitalize on these moments and things like that. So it was nice to see that. It is a very small moment where she kind of does that, especially with the daughter and everything. That's when it really starts to show its face of like, all right, like, come on, like, what are you doing? You know,
shows its true colors for sure.
But then on the other hand, you can see her situation of like someone who is trying to break the barrier of kind of being at your peak with what you do, you know, and it's like, how do you do that? You really got to put yourself in those extreme situations, you know?
Yeah.
And I like that. That's kind of the justification as to why these people are recording, you know? It's,
exactly.
Like I said, it's not Johnny. He's a film guy. Like he just has a camera and he likes to film. Like, come on. I hate that so much. And then they changed the reasoning as to why. And that's something that I really liked. While they're in there and then shit starts hitting the fan, they're stuck in there. So it's almost like, you know what? We want this camera to record so that way we can eventually, you know, sue whoever, and we have footage as to exactly what they were putting us through, what was going on. We weren't allowed to leave, you know, we weren't allowed to, you know, get the daughter medicine, you know, things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's almost like the justification kind of changes. And I really enjoyed that. I was like, you know what, that's actually really smart, because once things start getting bad and everything, that's the first question that comes to mind is just like, why didn't you drop the camera and run? Why didn't you do this? And I like that this movie smartly very thought of justification as to why, you know?
Yeah, which really shocked me with that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, that is actually a really solid reasoning.
Yeah. I love that these characters in this apartment and everything, they all feel really genuine, you know? Yeah. It is kind of like a Lake Mungo situation of, damn, these guys are really good. Are you sure
these guys are actors?
Yeah.
Are you sure these aren't real people?
Yeah, I'm very curious to see a lot of these actors' backgrounds and everything, because I was sold on pretty much all of them. There wasn't really anyone who stood out.
Even the kid, honestly. Yeah. That daughter character was crazy. Like, oh yeah, we'll definitely get into that in a bit.
Or even like the reporter. She felt like a reporter, like the cameraman, he's very quiet and everything. You know, it's just like everything really worked super well.
Yeah, I was surprised when I heard his voice later on in the film, the camera guy. I was like, oh, that's how he sounds.
So then one of the bodies and stuff that they kind of left in that upper area, it kind of is very much the moment where things start to amplify. This body falls down the stairs and just immediately hits the pavement.
I literally jumped. I was like, what in God's name did that?
And I feel like from that moment, the movie just doesn't stop. It's
nonstop. Yeah.
And you really start to get that feeling of,
it's like an adrenaline rush for sure. Yeah.
And I love, again, the through line that you follow with these characters. You know, it's not just throwing random shit at the camera at convenience, you know. Yeah. I really love, like I said, the kind of strategy of checking out the floors, you know, trying to find an exit, checking on this room that they didn't know is there. You know, I like all that stuff, because that sometimes in other found footage movies, it's almost like they just don't know what to do. So they're just throwing things at the camera and then just shake it, because that's all, you know, it's found footage, you know, they kind of lean into that a little too much. This movie very smartly kind of takes you along this journey throughout this apartment and everything. And when things are getting thrown at you, it's not overbearing, you know, eventually it kind of calms down. There is maybe a handful of moments where it's like, oh, that was convenient, but it's never too in your face of like, come on.
It didn't really take me out of it or anything like that.
One of the things that really kind of surprised me, that I really enjoyed, was when this health inspector showed up. I didn't think he was going to get in. I thought it was going to be a simple kind of, all right, we're going to talk at the door. I'm going to tell you your situation. You're screwed. And then we'll be done. The health inspector actually goes in to the apartment and starts, you know, working with everything and assessing these bodies and everything. And I love the paranoia amongst everyone. I like that they're all kind of pointing fingers at each other, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a very natural thing to do. Anytime I don't know what it is. People are faced with these stressful situations. It's like, I don't want the blame. I'm pointing the fingers at whoever, you know?
Yeah.
And people don't trust each other. And it's so funny because it's like in this apartment setting, it's just like, these are people that you've known for a long time. These are people that you're close with, you know?
They're your neighbors.
And everything.
Yeah. Aside from the news lady and obviously like the firefighters and the police officer.
Yeah. And just seeing them kind of turn on each other and kind of say things that it's just like, damn, this is a crazy situation. You know?
I'll be honest. When they introduced that health inspector, or like when they kind of like were kind of giving like an introduction, I honestly just thought it was just gonna be a guy in a suit with like a clipboard or something.
Oh yeah,
coming over there. So when he was like in a hazmat suit, I was like, oh, Specs. Okay.
That would have been wild. They just send him in there with nothing.
You know, I don't know why. That's like something I was like, oh, they'll probably just do something like that. So it was cool. They gave him like some safety precaution.
Yeah, and seeing him go through like the bodies and everything. I like that they close off the room and the cameraman and
they have to like sneak up. And,
they have
like,
to find a way to film this. And you can already tell that, you know, they know exactly what's going on. They just don't want to say it. You know?
I love that they just stay with Pedro's camera the whole time. I like that they don't like transition to maybe like the TV cameras of like the apartment or anything like that. I like that it just sticks to like one camera consistently throughout the film. I think that was like a really perfect choice to really be able to show that anxiety of like being in a situation like this.
And being limited in your processing of information, I really enjoy. I like it when a movie sticks to that and it has your ground rules. I guarantee when they were making it, they probably wrote down somewhere
a list of like
only
rules
showing
of like,
the camera's perspective,
which is I think a really great way to do it, because I feel like if they maybe showcase like other perspectives or something like that, I don't think it really would have worked for me too much. And
then it breaks the illusion and things like that. I'm really glad that you're really only exposed to the information that your characters are, you know, exposed to.
Which is a really terrifying thought, because it's that kind of like fear of the unknown type of thing too. And
it's like you're learning everything at the exact same time that they are, you know, so you are probably going to have those same feelings. So yeah, when this health inspector comes in, I mean, shit just hits the fan right away. He's like handcuffing these bodies to these beds and everything, but it's like right away, it's like, come on, these guys look really weird.
Zombified.
And then they start attacking. It's
the
like,
way they wake up and everything. Oh my God. That was really scary, you know, and they start like just biting like one of the other people that are in the room. Crazy. And they're all just like trying to run immediately, you know, and the camera's
someone in there and they're like, you know what?
My God.
Just leave him in there. Like there's nothing, he's been bitten, you know.
Which is like essentially like a sacrifice you have to make, you know, which is really sad.
And then they make it out. They go back to that kind of shutter door. They close it and everything. So many moments in this movie where like a door closes, like they barely make it, door closes. I felt like the most sense of relief of almost like, oh, okay.
Well, specifically with that one, when they closed like the gate and everything, that was probably like the most sense of relief I felt throughout the whole film.
And then it's like later on just immediately broken, you know, where they're making their way past this gate. I'm like, come on, like these zombies are actually really smart.
Yeah, I know. That was also surprising too. Like they just kept reviving throughout. I was like, oh, they're going to get killed once. They'll get out of it some way. No, they come back to life. Like I think like 2 or 3 different times in the film.
I really like how this film drops a lot of subtleties and little hints at you that really all kind of culminate together. And they were like, you know what? We were kind of throwing the plot at you the whole time. And it's done in just little small moments. Like the girl mentions a dog that they had to take to the vet. At no point did I think, oh, was that dog part of
is he like ground zero?
On? Yeah. You start to find out that is what happened, you know? Or the neighbors, they mention, oh, there's the top apartment, but no one lives there. You know, some guy owns it, but he hasn't been there in a long time. And it's like you start to find out, you know, you go into that apartment, you find out exactly what was going on. I like that this movie drops those little hints and everything.
Or the thing with the daughter with what was the disease they mentioned?
Tonsillitis. Yeah. They're like, she's not feeling well because oh man, that moment. Okay. That was a really great moment.
That caught me off guard for sure.
The moment where like I think the inspector and everyone's there, and it's like they're kind of saying how this virus transmits itself through saliva, things like that, and they show signs or whatever. And there's this moment where when they're hearing this information, they all turn and look at this mom and this daughter, because this daughter's been saying she hasn't been feeling well. And just that moment of them turning to just all stare at her, the camera looks at her. I was just like, holy crap, this just got real.
My heart kind of dropped a little bit. I won't lie.
Yeah. Okay. And then they go for the reveal. At no point did I think they were going to do this. The mom is basically being a mom, you know, she's like, it's tonsillitis. This is what it is. Daughter's not sick. You know, you guys don't have anything to worry about. And then I don't know where the daughter just
bites her face off.
The mom. And I'm like, what the heck? Immediately, I just was like, oh my God, that's insane.
That freaked me out so much. I jumped a little bit.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, they just like cuff the mom and everything. And his daughter's just like running around.
Wild.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is. They kind of hint at some stuff, like I said. Yeah. I guess certain blood types react faster to this virus than others, which I thought was like a nice little kind of detail.
Yeah, blood type A, blood type.
But what that daughter is, I see that's where I like with this movie. It's like they don't fully lay everything out for you. At no point they stop
and give this whole explanation.
Yeah, let's explain
history.
Everything. Let's explain how this virus works. Like, I'm really glad, even when the reveal kind of happens of information,
it's like through like news articles and everything, and it's so like subtle, and it's just so like like you kind of said, like so quick and everything, and more just like more implications, more of like things that like you can kind of interpret for yourself, you know. And I have a little theory that we can get into later about that.
But, slowly. Past that daughter and everything, people just start dropping left and right. Like, it's just
dropping like flies.
Before I knew it, I was like, holy crap, it's just the cameraman, the interviewer, and one of the firefighters. I was like, dang, like, how did all this happen? You
Poor firefighter, man. That guy deserves a raise.
Hey, really though. He has some great moments where he's just thinking on his toes and everything, you know, just really going at it with some of these zombies and stuff.
I know. I was like, dang, okay, man.
Yeah.
He's like at full power, 100%.
Like snaps one's neck and everything. But
that was an insane kill too.
Crazy. Now there's these moments and everything of them trying to find their way out of this apartment. They kind of find that, there was an underground area that they could maybe get to, but they needed the keys to unlock it and everything.
She goes through like the cabinet. There's like 200 different keys over there.
If you've ever played Resident Evil, that's exactly how this feels.
Oh, really?
Like, okay. I can't explain the amount of time, especially Resident Evil 2, where you're trying to access a certain area. And lo and behold, you need the right key. And then that key is in the other end of the building. And you have to go through X amount of zombies, or you have to come across, you know, a superhuman apparition. So yeah, that kind of reminded me a little bit of Resident Evil. Of we need the keys. Oh, turns out it's up there where all the shit's going on, and it's like, come on. But yeah, that's great. And they eventually go into the apartment. They get the keys. And I guess that health inspector find out he was bitten or whatever, so he locks himself up.
It's through like a little gate thing or something in like the shower or whatever. Yeah.
And then one of the older people that they were with ends up getting killed by the health inspector. And it's crazy. Yeah. So it's like the amount of people that are dropping in this movie, I never really could anticipate when it was going to happen.
Yeah, it just comes out of like left field.
And I was surprised because it's like, I feel like normally in this kind of movie, I would kind of catch on to that stuff, but maybe it's because it's so frantic. It's so quick in the way everything's edited. It feels very frantic.
It's surprisingly like really fast paced too, which I wasn't like expecting at all with this.
I really was never able to pinpoint, oh, that character's going to die. Oh, that one. Oh, writing's on the wall. You know, you can kind of do that in horror movies.
The cliches,
they don't hide it. They don't hide it at all. And you really start to just be like, all right, well, that guy's gone. Especially out of nowhere when a character's like,
well, and especially because with those,
I have a sick mom at home that I need to live for. You know, they kind of drop this reason. And so that way when they kill him off, you feel kind of sad.
Well, and especially with some of the characters, they just make like really dumb decisions where I'm like, really? Like you would do that?
Exactly.
Come on now. But in this, I don't feel like none of them really make any stupid decisions, surprisingly. So that was really great.
And when they die, it really is just, at least for me as a first time watcher, I was just kind of surprised. Like when that health inspector gets bit, I was like, oh, great. And then the old man's near the door, you know, it comes out, grabs him. I wasn't ready for that. So many moments I just wasn't really anticipating this character's dead, you know? And that's a very good strength to this movie is you really can't pinpoint what's going to happen or how it's going to happen. There's just like
unexpected quality to it that I just, and I'm curious definitely on like a rewatch how that'll kind of be now kind of knowing everything that happens, you know?
So they get to this apartment, they find the keys and everything, and they get out, and they basically only realize the only place they could go is to that top, you know, room where that guy was.
The penthouse, they kind of call it.
Penthouse. And they make it in there. A little movie cliche. She has racks of keys. Yeah,
exactly.
And she finds the exact one at the exact moment and opens the door.
I was like, that's a little too convenient.
I'll forgive it. Okay. That was kind of the only instance in this movie where I was like, all right.
She could have just tried like some of the other keys, you know? I think that's something that maybe they could have tried out. It's just maybe her trying one of the keys and then eventually finally getting that right key.
I think it would have been interesting if she like was trying it and then the door just was opened the whole time. That would have been, I would have been like,
that would have been a little funny moment. Little sense of relief.
So they make it into that apartment. It's pitch black and everything. They find a light. And like
I love that they use the camera light too.
And like Wallied mentioned, like this is like your kind of unveiling moment, but you really have to read through the lines. You really have to kind of examine what's going on because you see news clippings on the walls. You see pictures. You can see like
it's like a
chemistry
tape reel.
sets, tape reel. Like it just really feels like let's put all these dots out and let's throw it out at you and you can connect the dots in whatever way you kind of want, you know? And I guess what I kind of take away from it is biological meets kind of like paranormal, I guess, or like maybe satanic, demonic, you know, with a lot of the crosses and things on the walls, you know. I really was kind of taken away with like, maybe this is kind of like a parasite or whatever, but somehow mixed in with like possession, demonic type thing, which I thought was interesting. I was like, oh, cool. It's really, they're not outright saying what is actually happening.
Which I really appreciate. And I was really shocked by. I guess for me, so far, at least just with this first viewing, what I kind of took it as was that this was possibly a father experimenting on his daughter.
Okay.
Possibly because maybe, at least how I took it is that she probably had some kind of disease of sorts and that the dad was trying to maybe find like a cure or try to create a cure or something like that.
Okay.
And then it obviously just went wrong and he couldn't probably do much. And so he probably just trapped her in the attic.
Oh, wow.
Is how at least I kind of took that.
Yeah.
Which is a really messed up way, honestly. But
when they're in this room and everything, it starts to feel claustrophobic really fast.
I think this was probably the scariest part for me, especially when the camera light goes out and everything. And they're using the like, it's like a night vision thing on like the camera or something. Very freaky stuff. I had to turn on my lights.
This attic shaft falls open and the camera. This is the one jump scare that got me. The cameraman's like, I'm just gonna look up there. I'm gonna stick the camera up there and see what's up there. That might be our only way out. So he points it up there. Camera's panning around. At no point was I really expecting anything. And then you see this thing grab the camera. Oh my God. I remember really jumping. I was like, holy shit. So yeah, that freaked me out. And then they kind of run, and I guess to this point where the camera's kind of filming down this hallway.
I love how silent it gets too.
And you see this silhouette of, like I said, an apparition of human demonic entity walk around, and
the design of it.
There's something about it.
It's just like, so free. I'm like, what is it's like? Its mouth is like next to like its chest, and it's just like it looks like it hasn't eaten in like 5 years or something.
And it's a great effect too. Like it really at no point did I see the seams or anything. Like I was just like, is it CGI? Is it
practical? Is it? I don't know. I really don't know.
It really works to its benefit. And yeah, it's absolutely terrifying when that thing's kind of just coming down the hallway.
I could not keep my eyes open.
Yeah. And they're trying to like sneak around it. I'm just like, oh my God, this is really, again, kind of just reminded me of Resident Evil.
Okay.
So yeah, absolutely effective. And again, while watching it, you don't know, well, at least for me, I didn't know the zombie thing was going to happen.
I didn't think they were actually going to show it, honestly, because they kind of show it a little bit with like the shadows, but then man, like once they show it, I was like, that thing is terrifying. Yeah. That is very disturbing. Mm-hmm. And, God, it's very creepy looking too.
And it's a good payoff. Again, I really...
It was still surprising me. Like, it was like, I thought maybe like the peak of the film would probably be kind of like near the middle, kind of like near close to the end, where it's just like all this fast paced stuff is happening with the zombies. I was like, that'll probably be the horror of the film. And then they just kind of like pull the rug under you. And they're like, actually, no, here's one more scare. Yeah. We're going to just give it to you.
And it shows confidence as a filmmaker. That's something that now I kind of mentioned with horror and stuff is we kind of lean a little too much into the unknown, and we really kind of lean into that. And to me now, it kind of feels like a crutch of almost like, we don't know how to show the zombie and make it convincing, so we're just not going to show it anyways. Or we don't know how to show the monsters, so we're just not going to do it anyways. And this movie hints at it, and obviously you see these things and everything. But then to have the bravery as a filmmaker and storyteller to show it, and not only that, make it convincing.
And show it in like a night vision way. Yeah. That makes it even more scarier though.
And it's like that, for me, deserves a big applause. Because again, most filmmakers and stuff,
they don't really care to do it all that much,
It's like they're scared. It's like they're scared of their own potential, and they're like, you know what, we just can't do it convincingly, so we're not going to do it. And some people take this away with obviously Jaws kind of set the standard for not showing too much, leaving some to the imagination. But people take that message and they just apply it to everything, and it's like they forget to remember when shit hits the fan in Jaws. Spoiler alert, you see the shark. You see it. And it shows it full camera. And at one point it's on the top of the ship deck. And it's just like they still decided to show it, And that's one thing I hate with horror nowadays is just like, we don't need to. The scariest part is the dark hallway and you don't know what's there. And it's like, that's intriguing and it is scary, but I want to know what you find scary as a filmmaker, whether it's a weird, disfigured zombie like this thing is, or whether it's something imaginary like the Babadook, Eventually, at some point, you as a storyteller, you need to have that confidence. You need to have the gravitas to convey your idea, Mm-hmm. And I'm really just glad that this movie did that. Like Wallied said, at no point did I expect, we're going to see this thing.
Yeah. I was kind of like,
and then you see it and you see how it walks. You see its face. You see, And it's not like full view, best lighting in the world. No, they still kind of drip feed you a little bit.
Yeah, they still have that little like found footage thing. I think that's why the found footage was very effective too in that
really
scene,
great.
You know?
Yeah, and then our cameraman ends up dying, and
he should have gotten the biggest paycheck after that if they survived.
Yeah,
they should have just given him They should have given him like a promotion. But yeah, anyways,
and
poor Pedro.
Yeah, we're left with the main character, and very shortly after she picks up the camera and everything, she gets taken. And that's how the movie
it just ends abruptly. And usually I'm not a fan of when films end abruptly, but I think this is the one time where I felt like this really worked for me.
Yeah.
Like it just ends abruptly. I'm like, that's perfect. That is like a really perfect way to end this film, you know?
And it's crazy.
Because it leaves so much uncertainty too, also, you know?
As a found footage movie, I was really expecting like a text thing to pop up, kind of explaining, like not explaining, but just like how the footage was found, this and this.
Sure. Like a lore type of thing.
Usually they do that. Usually they'll do like, this footage was recovered as a part of this incident or whatever. And this movie didn't do that. It just immediately credits start to roll and you're just kind of left in shock of just like, damn.
They play this like random rocks.
Yeah, that sucked.
I was like, oh, okay. That's how it changed so quickly.
Yeah. Really great. I was not expecting me to love this movie as much as I did. But man, this is definitely one of the best in terms of found footage and everything. Really takes advantage of the medium. Doesn't really kind of jump outside of it. It knows what it is, knows what it wants to be.
I love that it fully commits to it too, also, you know.
And yeah, it's a very smartly kind of written bottle movie, you know?
Yeah, definitely one of the best, or definitely one of my favorite bottle films I've seen in quite a while, for sure.
Acting is top notch. Writing is great. The editing and everything is really good. Again, that sound mixing really, and everything just kind of leans towards this being authentic, you know?
Yeah.
Which, if you're going to do found footage,
you better make sure it's like super authentic.
Yeah,
you know?
You really want to make sure that it doesn't cross that line into overly edited or
super polished filmmaking,
convenient camera angles, perfect framing.
Because let's be honest, if you're doing found footage, it's not going to be perfect framing.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I walked away really enjoying this. Man, this is going to be kind of up there with some movies that I recommend to people now. No pun intended.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. This is just something that really got the scares going. So if you're looking for a horror movie in this Halloween season that you haven't heard of, I mean, most people I would assume maybe haven't heard of this. Definitely check it out. I'm thinking score wise for me, I'm probably at a 9.5 out of 10.
Nice.
Sure, I would have liked, three-dimensional characters, but for me in this movie, it really works that they're just kind of thrown at you. You don't really get too much with them. And for me, that kind of works because when you're doing found footage, convenience can be a big distraction sometimes when, here's my motivations and I'm saying it to the camera.
They're also not in the movie that much too. So I guess it doesn't really bother me all that much either, because they get killed off like so quickly in this film too,
So I'm at like a 9.5, definitely, but it was worth the watch. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Wow. Really took me by, I guess I say this about a lot of films, but this really took me by surprise. Granted, I still need to see a lot of found footage films and everything. That's definitely a one side of horror subgenres that I haven't dipped too much in my toes into. So this was like a very just insane use of found footage that I've seen done in a film before. I really loved the short pace of the film. I mean, granted, sure, I could have maybe used like 5 or 10 more minutes, honestly, just because I'm like, it was like really short. Without credits, it's like 73 minutes, which is insane. But man, do they get a lot across with that short runtime? And there's a lot of really incredible scares throughout the film. I love just how the film uses like the found footage and everything. I love that it's a very limited perspective. That's one thing that is what connected with me a lot with this film, is just that use of just having it be focused on one camera.
Yeah.
I think that was a really great way to like portray this story and everything. And then just really loved just the claustrophobic, anxiety anxiety-inducing nature of everything throughout the film. It was just really effective, very well done. Really great kills also throughout. You know, like there was some really insane ones, especially like you mentioned with the firefighter. With him snapping its neck, that was insane. And then just the last 20 minutes was really just like the very nice cherry on top for me with this film, and it made me really love it even more. But yeah, this is definitely one I'll probably recommend to people for anyone that wants to get more into horror, and especially found footage for sure. Like I definitely got to check out more from the genre and everything. So yeah, I guess I'm rating wise from me, I'd probably say I'm at a 9.5 out of 10. Honestly, this was really amazing. This really stuck with me a lot, and it's a film I honestly can't stop thinking about since I saw it like a couple of days ago.
Definitely check it out. And if you do, again, I would recommend the Spanish version with the English subtitles. I mean, check out the English dub trailer, and if you can if you can stick with that, go ahead and watch it. For me, I was just like, this is not going to work. And yeah, so if you're checking this out, I found it on Shudder. Wallied found it on Tubi. So the Spanish version is out there. You just kind of have to make sure that you pick the right one. Definitely make sure before you press buy or rent or whatever.
Make sure it's the right version.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think this is on any kind of mainline streaming service as of right now. So you might have to do just a little bit of digging. I guess we can kind of mention there is an American adaptation.
It's called Quarantine.
That came out like a year later. I've heard a lot of criticism. I kind of looked it up online after. Apparently, it's very much shot for shot. So it really follows a lot of the same beats and everything, hits a lot of the same points. I was looking at some of the trailers and camera work. Yeah, you can really tell that they were kind of mimicking this thing. But I guess towards the end and everything, maybe they kind of fine line print exactly what's going on, which some people might be a fan of, some people might not. Also, this movie has like 3 sequels that kind of popped up when I clicked this one.
Yeah, it was like a fourth rec film. I'm like, I didn't know this was like a popular franchise or anything. So I was like, okay.
Honestly, the curiosity in me, I might check out maybe 1 or 2 of the other ones. I'll have to see how I feel.
Okay. I might not watch them personally just because I feel like for me, this is more of like a lightning in a bottle type of situation where I'm like, I don't feel like you could really capture that same energy with like a sequel to a film like this, you know? This is kind of like more of like a once in a lifetime type of film.
That is always the interesting thing in horror is the inevitable sequels and stuff that happen. And sometimes it is to the dismay of the original writer or director's intention, you know? Which I always find like really interesting. I always find that like, okay, like the fact that maybe they were against the sequel and they wanted to do, or they kind of forced to do it, you know, that stuff I always find very interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, definitely check it out. Let us know what you guys think. This for me was just a really great surprise.
Yeah, really took me by storm, honestly. This was really great.
Really good. What do you got for us next time?
Okay, I don't think you'll be too happy with my next recommendation, so I do apologize for this in advance. But seeing as we've kind of mentioned the A24 horror, elevated horror type of stuff, you mentioned it briefly during the weapons discussion. I thought, let's do it. Let's try it out for sure. This is, for me, I think probably one of the better elevated horror films I've seen personally. I don't think it's like perfect or anything. I think it's surprisingly good for what they're able to get across. Man, all right. So we're going to do The Witch.
Oh my God.
By Robert Eggers. This is his debut.
All right.
This is his debut film. And I have seen a few of his other films. But yeah, this one was one that took me by surprise when I saw it in college. I haven't seen it in a while, so it'll be very interesting to see how I feel now rewatching it, especially me being more into horror films. I'm very curious to see how this film will be on a rewatch. Yeah. So Nabahi, I know you love Robert Eggers and you love this movie. So yeah, you've seen it once, right?
I've seen it once. Okay, I will say I've seen it once. I was very opinionated when I did see it. Okay. I think I was in that younger kind of age of thinking that I know everything. And then obviously years later, I find out that I don't know everything. I will say some of my favorite, celebrities or my favorite filmmakers or whatever, like they love this movie. Some of my best friends probably, no, they are infinitely smarter than me. They love this movie. So many people I know, even going onto the online review space, man, I just see the most glowing reviews and the most outright recommendations of this movie. If I ever go on like a horror subreddit or online blog or whatever, people ask what's a underrated horror movie. This movie usually pops up. And I could not disagree more with the first time that I saw this movie. I really have such a big dislike for this movie. And I know I'm in the minority. You guys can flame me all you want. I know it. I know I'm in the minority. Again, like I'm probably just too dumb to understand this movie. I just really don't like it. And it's so unfortunate because I remember when this movie was coming out, I was actually kind of excited, like seeing the trailer. This was back when A24 was still kind of finding its footing and everything. So seeing the reviews, like people were praising this movie. And I remember going into that theater super hyped up, and just being kind of let down. We'll get into it in the review. But this will be my second time seeing it. I have not rewatched it since. So maybe. Yeah,
same for me too. So
I might have a new appreciation for it. Who knows? My mind might be kind of changed. Again, I kind of say that a lot on this channel.
Because it does happen for sure.
Your mind can be totally changed. You can literally have the worst opinion of a movie. You could even be hating it before you even watch it. And then you watch it and you're like, you know what? That was actually really good. So I'm hoping that's the case with this. But again, I'll explain everything in the review of just why I don't like this movie.
But yeah, this is one I definitely remember really liking. I believe this was like the second film. Obviously, I'll get into it in the review too, but this was the second film of his I saw, because the other one I really loved was The Lighthouse. And then this was one that, I was like, this is kind of like surprisingly pretty solid for what they were able to kind of accomplish.
Did you see The Lighthouse or this one first?
I saw The Lighthouse first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I saw this one second. So I had a bit of a better idea of like his kind of style and everything. So maybe and again, that's something I can maybe touch on during the discussion. But I'm really sorry, man. So we're gonna.
I'm excited. No, I'm excited. All you A24 fans, like, I'm not gonna shy my opinion in this. Like, just be ready. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to discuss for next episode. So if you guys don't want to be spoiled for it and you haven't seen it, give it a watch next episode. This one's a little bit more out there. So The Witch, Robert Eggers. So
all right.
Yeah, there we go.
Nice. Well, thank you guys for joining us on our Halloween horror extravaganza. We're going to keep going through the month of October. Thank you guys if you're subscribing or liking any of the videos. Like, we can't appreciate it enough. Thank you if you're sharing, with people other fellow film fans, things like that. We're going to definitely be getting into, obviously, more reviews now that we're approaching the end of the year, so look forward to that stuff. And then we also do the music reviews that, we kind of break down albums and things like that. So,
give those guys a watch.
Thank you guys so much.
Give those ones a watch. Sorry, give those guys a watch. I'm sorry. Give those ones a watch.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Good day and good night, mates.
We'll see you on the next one.